Listen closely, chosen ones, because what I'm about to reveal is not just another message. It's a divine confirmation that your season of justice is here. For too long, the wicked have believed they could get away with their deception. They have lied, manipulated, and plotted against the righteous, thinking there would be no consequences. But they have forgotten one thing: God sees everything. And when divine justice strikes, it doesn't come quietly. It comes publicly, powerfully, and undeniably. Before we go deeper into this life-changing revelation, I want you to do 3 things right now. Fire, hit that like button. This is your declaration that you stand for divine justice. Fire, subscribe to Bible Peak, because the truth must be heard by those who seek it. Fire, comment below, divine justice is coming. Let the enemy know that their time is up. Now, let's get into it. The proud, the deceitful, and the wicked believe they are untouchable. They mock righteousness, thinking that they have built an empire too strong to fall. They convince themselves that their power, status, and influence will protect them forever. But history proves otherwise. From Pharaoh to Nebuchadnezzar, from corrupt kings to false prophets, no one has ever stood against God and won. They thought they were safe. They thought no one could touch them. They thought they could manipulate, deceive, and trample on the righteous without facing consequences. But God always has the final move. There is a moment when the hidden becomes exposed. A moment when secrets are dragged into the light. A moment when those who built their power on lies watch their empires crumble beneath their feet. And that moment is coming for your enemies. The traps they set for you, they are about to fall into them themselves. The lies they spread, they are about to be caught in their own web. The harm they intended for you, it is about to return to them sevenfold. Because divine justice is not just punishment, it is restoration. God is not only dealing with your enemies, He is positioning you for victory in front of them. Psalm 23 verse 5 says, "You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies." This means your greatest blessings will be witnessed by those who tried to destroy you. They will have no choice but to watch as God lifts you up, blesses you, and proves that His hand was always on your life. Many of you have asked, why hasn't God done anything yet? You have seen the wicked prosper. You have watched your enemies mock you, deceive others, and build themselves up on falsehood. You have prayed for justice, but it seems like nothing is happening. Let me tell you something powerful: God's silence is not His absence. When God is quiet, it is because He is setting the perfect stage. The wicked mistake His silence for weakness. They think that because judgment hasn't come yet, it will never come. They grow bolder in their sin, piling up more lies, more manipulation, more deceit. But what they don't realize is that God is giving them rope to hang themselves. He is allowing them to dig deeper, to expose their true intentions, to become so confident in their schemes that when justice strikes, there will be no way out. Ecclesiastes 8 verse 11 says, "Because the sentence against an evil work is not executed speedily. The heart of the sons of men is fully set in them to do evil." In other words, when people don't see immediate consequences for their actions, they think they can keep getting away with it. But they are mistaken. Because when God moves, He doesn't give warnings. He doesn't negotiate. He doesn't give them a chance to explain. He doesn't let them hide behind excuses. When He decides the time is right, it happens suddenly, swiftly, and in full view of the world. They won't have time to cover their tracks. They won't be able to rewrite the narrative. They won't be able to deny what they did. Their downfall will be so complete, so undeniable, that even their strongest supporters will abandon them. The very people they manipulated, the ones they used to do their dirty work, will turn against them. Their empire will crumble in front of everyone. Because God's justice doesn't come quietly, it comes as a public reckoning. Your enemies thought they won. They thought you were weak. They mistook your silence for surrender. But what they didn't realize is that God was using your patience as a weapon. Every moment you waited, every time you refused to retaliate, every time you chose faith over revenge, you were building your case before the throne of heaven. And now, the verdict is in. You have been found faithful. You have been found worthy. You have been found righteous. And your enemies? They have been found guilty. The same people who took pleasure in your suffering will soon see the tables turn. Because when God is on your side, your enemies don't stand a chance. Their arrogance has sealed their fate. Their deception has been recorded. Their actions are coming back to haunt them. And when their fall comes, it will not be hidden. It will be a spectacle. It will be public, undeniable, and unforgettable. This is the season of divine reversal. The last shall be first. The oppressed shall rise. The righteous shall inherit the promises. Your story is not over. Your best days are ahead. And the justice you have prayed for is already on its way. Fire hit like if you believe divine justice is coming. Fire subscribe to Bible Peak so you never miss another powerful message. Fire comment below, divine justice is coming. Because chosen ones, it's happening. And nothing can stop it. Evil always believes it can hide. Those who deceive, manipulate, and spread lies think their actions are buried deep, beyond the reach of exposure. They believe they are untouchable, that they can weave their falsehoods indefinitely. Covering their corruption with charisma, their deception with influence. But what they fail to understand is this: God does not need to strike them down, He allows their own darkness to consume them. The enemies of the righteous often think they are winning. They laugh in secret, believing their schemes are impenetrable. They operate in shadows, convincing themselves that no one will ever discover the depth of their deceit. But darkness cannot remain hidden forever. There is a law woven into the very fabric of existence. What is done in the dark will be brought into the light. No matter how carefully they construct their falsehoods, no matter how many people they deceive, the moment will come when the truth is revealed. And when that happens, their own actions will become their downfall. They have sown destruction, and now they will reap it. They have built a foundation on lies, and now it will collapse beneath them. They have set traps for others, and now they will fall into their own pit. Because God's justice does not require an outside force to intervene. The wicked will self-destruct. The manipulator will be tangled in their own web of deceit. The liar will be exposed by their own contradictions. The envious will be consumed by their own jealousy. Their destruction is coming, not from an enemy, not from an external force, but from within. The fire they lit to burn others will consume them first. When God executes justice, He does not do it in secret. The downfall of the wicked is never hidden. It is a spectacle. It is a public undoing, a fall so great that those who once admired them will turn away in shock. They spent years crafting a false image, manipulating those around them, building reputations rooted in deception. But when the truth emerges, their carefully constructed facade will shatter before the world. And the most devastating part, no one will come to their rescue. The very people they deceived, the ones they used to advance their schemes, will abandon them. They will watch as their empire crumbles, powerless to stop it. Their name, once spoken with admiration, will become a warning. Their legacy will not be greatness, it will be disgrace. Because God ensures that the wicked do not simply fall, they fall before the very audience they sought to impress. The wealth they hoarded will slip through their fingers. The influence they abused will be stripped from them. The admiration they craved will turn into disgust. they will not just lose, they will be rejected, and that is the final judgment. To be cast aside, left to face the consequences of their own actions, unable to escape the weight of their choices. Your enemies believed that because you were silent, you were powerless. They mistook your patience for fear. They mistook your endurance for weakness. They mistook your lack of retaliation for defeat. But what they did not realize is that God was using your silence to set them up for exposure. While they were busy speaking lies, their own words were trapping them. While they were busy plotting, their own actions were writing their downfall. Your restraint was not a lack of strength, it was divine positioning. Had you retaliated, they would have twisted the narrative. Had you fought back, they would have claimed you were the problem. Had you defended yourself, they would have painted you as the aggressor. But instead, you waited, and now, they have no escape, because they have written their own condemnation. The proof is in their actions. The evidence is in their choices. The case has been built, not by your hands, but by their own. When judgment comes, they will have no excuse. They will not be able to shift the blame. They will not be able to rewrite the story. They will not be able to deny what they have done. Because the very things they accused you of, the very lies they told, the very traps they set, are now circling back to them, and they will stand alone in the wreckage of their own making. The world has a way of making the righteous feel like they are losing. The deceitful seem to prosper, the wicked seem to advance, the corrupt seem to thrive. But what you must understand is this: they are only being given time to expose themselves. They are only being allowed to build higher, so their fall will be greater, and when it happens, it will happen quickly. One moment, they will stand in arrogance, the next, they will fall in humiliation, because God does not forget. He has seen every injustice, He has recorded every deceit, He has heard every false accusation, and now, the day of reckoning has arrived. They laughed when you suffered. They celebrated when you struggled. They thought they had won, but they did not realize that the final move belongs to God. Now, the stage is set. The moment has arrived, and when God moves, nothing can stop Him. They will watch in horror as everything they built collapses. They will stand in silence as their once loyal followers turn against them. They will be forced to admit what they tried so hard to deny, because justice delayed is not justice denied. And when God delivers His verdict, it is absolute. This is the end of their deception. This is the moment they cannot escape, because what they thought was their victory was always their downfall, and now, there is no turning back. Everything built on deception has an expiration date, no matter how carefully crafted the lies are, no matter how many people were manipulated into believing them. There is a moment when truth becomes undeniable. The wicked have spun their stories, twisted reality, and painted false narratives to destroy your reputation. But what they fail to realize is that lies are temporary, and truth is eternal. Your enemies thought they were smart. They whispered rumors behind your back. They spread false accusations to damage your credibility. They gathered others against you, twisting stories to fit their agenda. And for a while, it seemed like they succeeded. People believed them. Doors closed against you. Opportunities were stolen. But they forgot one thing. Truth does not bend to deception. The more they lie, the more tangled they become. One false statement leads to another. One deception requires 10 more to cover it. One manipulation creates cracks in their foundation. And when the moment comes, their own web of lies will collapse on them. The people they deceived will start seeing the inconsistencies. The ones who once supported them will realize they were being used. The false stories will contradict each other, exposing the truth. And the most powerful part, you won't have to do anything. The truth will defend itself. The deception will self-destruct. The people who doubted you will witness the collapse of the very lies they believed, and in that moment, the ones who mocked you will fall silent. Because when God exposes falsehood, no one can deny it. Justice is not just about exposing the wicked, it's about restoring the righteous. God is not just bringing you back to where you were before the attack, He is lifting you higher. He is replacing every loss with greater gain. He is turning your pain into a platform for elevation. Your suffering was not in vain. Every tear you cried, every moment you endured injustice, every time you chose faith instead of revenge, it was all building something greater. And now, God is about to reward you openly. You will not just be vindicated, you will be honored. You will not just be restored, you will be promoted. You will not just survive, you will thrive beyond what anyone expected. The same people who turned against you will have no choice but to watch as God blesses you. The same enemies who tried to bury you will see you rise higher than ever before, because when God restores, He does it abundantly. The position they tried to steal from you, God will give you a better one. The opportunities they blocked, God will open greater doors. The name they tried to tarnish, God will make it respected beyond what they imagined. This is not just about fairness, this is about divine favor. You will come out of this stronger, wiser, and more powerful than ever before, and those who thought they had defeated you will have to witness your rise. Because when God prepares a table for you, He makes sure your enemies are watching. This battle was never just about you. God allowed you to go through this storm because your victory will serve as a testimony. What you endured, others will learn from. What you survived, others will be inspired by. What was meant to break you will become a warning to those who try to destroy others with lies. Your story is not just yours, it is a lesson to the world. The people who once sided with your enemies, the ones who stayed silent when they should have spoken up, the ones who followed the lies without question, they will be forced to confront their own mistakes. They will realize, they judged you unfairly, they believed the wrong people, they turned their backs on someone who was innocent, and that realization will be a heavy burden to carry. Because when truth is revealed, it demands accountability. The ones who once stood against you will be filled with regret. Some will try to apologize, some will try to reconnect, some will not even know what to say, but the truth will remain. They were wrong, and your survival, your elevation, your breakthrough, will stand as undeniable proof that no weapon formed against you could prosper. Your testimony will shake people awake. Your restoration will prove that God is always in control. Your rise will serve as a warning to anyone who thinks they can build their success on the destruction of others, because what happened to you will not happen again. The lesson has been set. The example has been made. The truth has been written in history. This is not just your victory, this is a shift in the spiritual order. The wicked will never again hold power over you. The deceitful will never again rise at your expense. The manipulative will never again be able to pull you down. Because your battle was not just about you, it was about breaking a cycle, and now, that cycle is broken forever. This is why your name will not just be cleared, it will be honored. Your testimony will not just be known, it will be remembered, and the justice that God is bringing, it will not be forgotten. Jealousy is a silent poison. It is the force that drove Cain to kill Abel. It is the reason Saul sought to destroy David. It is what led the Pharisees to crucify Jesus, and it is the hidden force behind the attacks against you. Your enemies did not rise against you because you did something wrong. They came against you because they could not handle your light. They saw your anointing, they saw your favor, they saw God's hand on your life, and instead of celebrating with you, instead of being inspired by your growth, they allowed jealousy to consume them. They convinced themselves that you didn't deserve your blessings. They schemed to take what was yours. They plotted in secret, thinking they could replace you, silence you, or destroy you. But what they failed to realize is that no one can take what God has given. What was meant for you will always be yours. What God has promised you cannot be stolen. What they tried to strip away will be returned to you in greater measure, because now, God is exposing their true motives. They wore the mask of friendship. They pretended to support you. They smiled in your face while plotting behind your back. But God is removing the disguise. Those who once praised them will see the jealousy that fueled their actions. The people who followed them will realize they were being manipulated. And here's the part they never expected. They won't just lose you, they will lose everyone they deceived. Because God is not just exposing them to you, He is exposing them to the world, the reputation they built through deception. Gone, the influence they gained through manipulation. Stripped away, the control they had over people. Completely shattered, and when everything is laid bare, there will be no one left to defend them, because the people who once followed them will be filled with regret. They will look back and see, they sided with the wrong person. They believed lies instead of truth. They betrayed someone who was genuine for someone who was deceitful. And as they watch your enemies fall, they will be reminded that God always defends His chosen ones, for so long. They operated in arrogance. They thought they had secured their power. They believed they were untouchable. They convinced themselves that they were too far ahead to fall. But when God moves, no earthly power can stand against Him. The same platform they used to manipulate others, God will tear it down. The same connections they relied on, God will sever them. The same influence they abused, God will take it away. They will be pulled down from their throne, and they will watch as you rise to a place they never imagined you could reach. Because God is not just bringing them low, He is lifting you higher. The same people who ignored you will now seek your wisdom. The same doors that were closed will now be opened wide. The same opportunities that were stolen will now be multiplied in your favor, and your enemies will have no choice but to watch, because this isn't just about their downfall, this is about your rise. God is strategic. He does not destroy the wicked in an instant. Instead, He allows them to feel every moment of their downfall. They will lose their influence bit by bit. They will watch as people turn their backs on them one by one. They will realize, too late, that everything they did to hurt you has come back to destroy them. They will try to recover. They will try to explain. They will try to manipulate their way out of it. But it will be too late, because when God closes a door, no one can reopen it. They will have to sit in their failure. They will have to witness the damage they caused. They will have to acknowledge that they lost everything because of their own choices, and they will not be able to hide. God will make sure their fall is seen by the same people they deceived, because divine justice is public. Just as they tried to publicly shame you, God will publicly strip them of their power. Every tear you cried, every sleepless night, every moment of pain. It was not for nothing. God saw it all, and He was not just watching, He was preparing you to step into greater influence, preparing your name to be cleared, preparing your enemies to be removed from positions of power. Because God does not just restore, He multiplies. You are not just going to recover what was lost, you are going to be elevated beyond what you ever imagined, and your testimony will not just be a story, it will be a movement that proves, fire God defends the righteous, fire God exposes the wicked, fire God never allows injustice to win. In the end, there will be no question about what happened. People will know you were never the enemy. People will see you were always telling the truth. People will understand why God was on your side. And the wicked, they will disappear from relevance. Their names will fade. Their voices will lose power. Their influence will be a distant memory. Because they built their kingdom on lies. And when the storm of God's justice came, it washed everything away. But you built your foundation on truth. You trusted in God. You endured the storm, and now, you stand victorious. Your story will be remembered. Your faithfulness will be honored. Your rise will be a testimony for generations to come, because no weapon formed against you prospered, and nothing can stop what God has prepared for you now.